What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm coming at you guys from LANFest in St. Louis. This is the October edition. It's held twice a year. The last event was back in March. And it's put on here by a local organization called Laclede's Land, non-for-profit. The actual event is done for charity. And it's a bring your own PC, old school LAN event. Usually over 200 gamers here, everyone bringing in their own custom rigs. So for the past 4 events, we've been holding a competition that we call the Custom Rig Challenge. Essentially, we go around, myself and a few other judges. We look for the best of the best custom-built PCs, sort of judge them on a couple different categories, and then we come up with an overall winner that gets a Best in Show trophy. So it's gone over really well. It's always a lot of fun. So I figured this time around, go ahead and shoot some video, take you guys along for the ride, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So basically for this event, instead of grading a bunch of builds individually, myself, Matt, and James went around and we sort of narrowed down our options to what I guess we could go ahead and call a top 5. And we carefully looked at the builds, the things that we like and we don't like individually. So now we're going to have a discussion amongst the 3 of us to see if we can narrow down what we would choose as the, I guess, the overall winner that's deserving of the trophy for the Custom Rig Challenge. So let's just start off with Mark's build. He's got the black and red
ROG theme build.
The ROG theme build.
It's a ROG formula board with a 1080 Ti Poseidon, running 7700K. Has a Sound Blaster ZXR, 16 gigs of extra Raiden ROG edition. All sitting in a NZXT Noctis ROG edition. So that's the ZXR Sound Blaster with its secondary DAC. Added a backplate to the sound card, and added a little LED strip to the underside of the graphics card with the support bracket that's there to light it up so that you can really see the card itself.
Last thing I gotta ask. So you've got the formula board. You got the Poseidon graphics card.
Yes.
When are we gonna see some water cooling in this thing?
Absolutely, by next lane.
Okay, cool.
So absolutely.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Okay.
It's clean. I mean, there's not a lot of cables floating around. It seems like it's like oversaturated almost. Like there's too much just black and red.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no spice to it.
it's funny because you on one hand you want to give them credit for
The dedication.
continuity. It's very it follows the theme very well. You're hard pressed to find anything in the build that isn't cohesive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it's an ROG theme, which we've seen a million times. It's black and red, which still looks good, but it's nothing really.
It's pretty standard.
You know, I think it's a very well executed build for what it is, but I don't know that it's necessarily a build that stands up against other builds as something that's really going to stand out. And he put some nice little touches on it. The 3D printed ROG fan grills are pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So for me, I like the details, but if we're going to go into somebody who's detail oriented with the build, and I think you probably agree it's a big pet peeve. If you're gonna go as far as putting an LED underneath your graphics card, you should really invest in either cable extensions or some sort of. If you're gonna spend that extra money, and you spend money in places that makes the computer look amazing, but if you're gonna spend money like that, the first thing you should upgrade is cables, because not only are they're aesthetically pleasing, but they're generally higher quality. So you're gonna get.
And that generally tends to be the thing that people forget or cheap out on, or they don't know.
They just overlook it.
There's so much stuff that
even a basic black cable mod, cheap cable mod kit would have gone a long way, because that is one feature that he hasn't addressed, at least up to
But he did a really good job on the details up to that point.
Yeah.
What about Kyle? He has the custom white painted micro ATX Phanteks case.
The main components are going to be a 6700K Skylake i7. It's actually a Z270 MX Gaming 5 from Gigabyte MATX board. 32 gigs of the ballistics memory from Crucial. GTX 1080 from Asus. Corsair H100 in there too.
Now you got 4 DIMMs. Is that 16 or 32 gigs?
That's 32 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Rick Sanchez.
Yeah. So
How much FPS did you gain from that?
That's actually an infinite amount. So I could actually have like a 1050 in there or whatever I wanted, but the 1080 just looks so much better that I decided that I'd keep it in there. You know. So. But yeah, probably somewhere around 150 FPS from putting the Rick in there. So.
Let's hear your best Rick Sanchez impression.
I'm not so good at impressions.
You've watched it enough. You can try.
Can't do it, unfortunately. Sorry, just not that guy.
Next time I want you coming at me strong with a good impression.
I might have an impression, maybe.
Otherwise, you got to take that out of the case.
Okay. This is a lot of times mistaken for a full-size Evolve. This is actually an MATX Evolve. They're very close in size, just a little smaller on the inside. This is only offered in 3 colors, and white is not one of those colors. So I actually got the Galaxy Silver edition of this. Sanded it, painted it, cleared it, all that myself in my garage. It's a long project because I didn't have any type of control over the area or anything like that, but it turned out really good. Just a lot of time and effort. Black and white was always something that I kind of liked just because of the versatility. So I decided to throw the green in there, especially with the kind of the Rick and Morty theme, if you will. So kind of landed on green.
Awesome. It's the Pickle Rick theme.
Yeah, right. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Custom painting a case is that's a scary little adventure, especially when you spent over $100 on a case and it's aluminum at that. You don't want to ruin it. I think he did an amazing job with the paint job. I'm a huge fan.
You can't tell that it was.
It looks factory. Yeah. I give him a lot of credit for being dedicated to make sure that the final product was something that he can be proud of. Because a lot of people they do something 95% and then they just settle.
Yeah.
And then that 5% that they give up on stands out like a sore thumb. So,
and it comes back to the same thing with the first one, the cables.
Yeah.
It just on the GPU.
I also like too. I really dig the white and black is obviously sort of played out, but I like the green. I like the green LEDs. It's something new and fresh.
Rick and Morty themed carrying it through.
It gave it another element.
That was nice. The 3D printed Rick's just kind of a neat little touch. It's a way to kind of personalize it and add some character.
Yeah.
But I think the painting of the case, I think, is what kind of takes it to the next level.
Yeah. They invested some time. They didn't just go buy something. They actually did something on their own.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing for me comes down to just what he said. Same thing. GPU cables, and then not only that they're not custom, it's that the extra hanger on the 8+6 on one cable. The 6 is just dangling rather than tied back.
Yeah.
That gets me a little bit.
Let's talk about the build in the Crystal 460X. The Corsair case that's loaded with NZXT paraphernalia.
Yes.
So we've got a Kraken X52 here cooling the 7700K under there. It's on a Asus, not an Apex, it's a Core Z270. We got 16 gigabytes of 3000 megahertz G-Skill, DDR4, RGB, all that fun stuff. We got a 1080 Seahawk, not a 1080 Ti, not a 1070, 1080. We've got a lot of NZXT stuff in here. So we've got their Air RGB fans. We've got their Hue Plus. We've got their USB extension thing, which is good for this board because it only has 2 USB hookups on there for all your goodies. And then down below, it's hidden, but it is in there. It's the Grid Plus fan controller, controlling all these nice fans that you see. So that's the USB extender.
Oh, okay.
So that's what gives me more internal USB, since the motherboard only has 2 ports. That gives me a couple extra to work with. The fan controller is actually below the power supply shroud. Hid that away. There's nowhere nice to kind of put it and present it. So those are cable mod cables, just black, straight to the power supply.
Is a full set or extensions?
They're the full set.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll go straight back to the power supply. I guess the newest part in this computer is actually all of these custom sleeved cables. So that I did myself with some heat shrink and with some sleeving that I bought from Micro Center.
Oh, cool.
It's like a gunmetal color, so it has some nice reflections, like you see on the tubing that's done already on the AIO liquid cooler and on the GPU kind of built-in loop. So it kind of ties everything together with that gunmetal blackish look, I think.
How do you think NZXT feels that you took all of their fans and controllers and AIO and you stuck it in a Corsair case?
I hope they don't feel too bad because I get a lot of compliments that everything kind of fits well in there together. I think it looks good. It's nice and clean. That's really what I was going for.
It's a lot of form over function.
It's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Was that the one with the nest of cables in the bottom?
Yeah, so that to me, you know, and the guy put a lot of effort into the build. He had great attention to detail. He does have sleeved cables. He actually even sleeved some of the other cables himself, like the fan cables. So I give him credit for that. So he for sure paid attention to all the details.
It is very busy with the soft.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in there.
a lot of space taken up.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah, I think he probably did a good job achieving what his goal was.
The aesthetic is nice.
So then we get to the build that was in the Phanteks Lux, the RGB Lux case, that silver one.
He called it Gray Rainbow. Is what he's named it.
Oh, right.
Because the case is gray, and then there's a lot of rainbow happening in the middle.
That's great.
1080, of course, EVGA for the win. I got a i5 600K. I got the Kraken's X62 with the three 140 millimeter fans from NZXT. I got the Hue Plus going. I got the G Skill Trident Z at 3200 speed. I got two Toshiba 5TB drives rated at 0, so I could have more space. And then right now I'm planning, I wish I could do 4 sticks of it, but the water cooler right there isn't, it's over the one start, so I couldn't, sadly. And then it's just basic, these components, and then it's the Intho Lux case from Phanteks. Love the case. It's a gray case, and we didn't know at the very beginning that it could color change. We didn't know there was different modes for it.
Oh yeah.
We accidentally held the button and it just started changing. Like, I asked my dad, I was like, why is it breathing? He was like, I have no idea. Source, yes.
And they're extensions?
Yeah, they're extensions. I have 3 of them. I like the gray striped because it went with my case. I looked at other ones, but it just didn't fit well at the rainbow case. And then I got my Void Corsair headset, mouse pad, keyboard, mouse, and then I also have the new headset stand that they just came out with. I bought that instantly right when they came out with it. What I originally was gonna do is keep this green, but I just like the EVGA green. It looked good, but I'd rather have it on the rainbow.
Now, I think his dad helped him out a lot with the build. However, he was very in tune with what was going on.
Everything was there for.
Yeah, he's very passionate about his build.
Articulate.
If there's any points involved in this, he was the most excited to be asked to look at his computer.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the most excited to be asked
Oh,
if
yeah.
he wanted to be in the contest.
He's definitely into it, and it's a nice build. It's well executed. There's nothing I can really say bad about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. There's not anything that you can go, oh well, he should have done this, or
Yeah.
he's got some sleeve cables.
Yeah, I like the two-tone cables on his.
kind of like old school paracord climbing look to the cable.
Yeah.
I like that
That was
case.
also-
Now, if there was anything I was going to point to that I don't like, and this is sort of nitpicking, but in that case, it has the 2 spots for SSDs to face forward, and they're just empty.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing like those empty pegs just kind of staring at
And
me.
I did ask him, I was like, well, you've got an SSD, why'd you put it? He said, I didn't like how it looked unbalanced without 2, and he only has 1.
Yeah.
So at least he had an explanation.
Yeah, that's true. I probably wouldn't mind, you know, if the mounts are there, just go ahead and stick one there.
Stick something there.
Yeah, you know, kind of show it off, or you know, do something to. But yeah, I don't know. That one's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's clean.
Yeah,
It's
let's be
well
honest.
executed.
If you can't see the SSD, do you really have an SSD?
No, that's true. That we should go ask him again. Yeah. So the last one we looked at was Steve's build, which completely different from the build that he won the competition with last time around.
So we got a reverse mount water block here for the 1700X from AMD. Got DDR4 from G-Skill RGB on a Ryzen X370 ASRock motherboard. Rocking a 960 EVO SSD M.2 with some custom cabling, and then running on a triple rad EK pump, pretty standard. RGB madness going on.
Those are the Corsair HD ones, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Corsair HD. Rocking EVGA 650 G2 power supply. Plenty of power for that. GTX 1080. Water blocked. Probably add some hard tubing to this. Maybe mess around with some new kind of color water maybe, or some kind of other variation than just the standard clear. Pretty easy build though. Open air, it's not hard to build in these at all. They're pretty simple. The hardest part is really just hiding those cables. That's the toughest part.
Yeah. But I mean, your consistency's on point. You know, good color coordination. So
It looks really good too.
black and white with RGB, I guess it's not super hard to pull off. so.
Right, and then I got the white triple red on there too.
So next time around, you're gonna have this. Only it's gonna have rigid tubing.
Maybe.
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 Or
There's some plans
it's
in the works.
probably more likely it's gonna be completely different, right?
Most likely.
Okay.
I've never built in an open air case, so I had to do it at least once.
I haven't known you to have the same build for any longer than 6 months.
Nope. It'll be something totally different, I'm sure.
Knowing how his builds normally look, it looks very unfinished or thrown together.
I think that's a product of that case too, though.
Yeah.
I think that case just says like it's like a construction site. Like it just kind of feels like there should be more there.
I've
Feels
never.
like a test bench almost.
Yeah, those cases are kind of popular right now. I see a lot of builds. I see a lot of water cooled builds in that case. And I got to be honest, I'm never really that impressed. I don't.
You don't have to account for tolerances or clearances. You're just
Well, and I think
it's easy to build it.
there's like no flexibility
Yeah.
either. It's like this has to go here, this has to go here.
Won the last one, so we can be hard.
Yeah, he's not allowed to win.
Yeah.
That's not really true, but let's each pick our favorite and then see if we can somehow agree on. I would say my favorite would be the white painted Phanteks case. I like it's a well executed paint job. I like the matte white, and the with the green highlights. It's just kind of a fresh theme. It's something that, you know, I've seen a lot of PC builds, and I like to see something that's a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing. So I wish it had sleeved cables, but at least the cables that are in there are all black and they are managed, you know, to an extent. So that didn't really kill it for me. I think, you know, and I love Rick and Morty. So
I go with the. I'm not as familiar with the case names as you guys. The big RGB build.
The gray.
the
gray
Phanteks
rainbow.
one,
Yeah.
the one we were.
I mean, everything had a very specific purpose, and if it didn't fit perfectly, he went with another company or something. And he, in my mind, didn't break any of the big rules. You know, he had the custom cables. I mean, everything down to his mouse pad fit, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was
really
very
passionate.
For me, I gotta agree with him.
Phanteks.
The reason being, and I'll kind of cover my highlight points. I love the excitement. Like I asked so many people out there, like, "Hey, you want to be the builder?" Like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, can I have your computer?" And he instantly like jumped up and ripped the monitor
that
out.
monitor out of the
I'm like, okay. I was like, well, and before you showed, I was like, we're doing this PC build off thing. I was like, do you want to be involved? I said, we have to pick and ask permission. He said, oh yeah, and him and his dad started talking to me right away. So I love that. That obviously helps. Personality's a lot, and he's clearly excited about building.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, he didn't break any of the rules. Like he has custom cables. I didn't see cables running where they shouldn't have been. That's a big one for me. So he had custom cables. No big rule breaks. I agree with the SSD, but I asked him. It's one of the first things. I was like, "Oh, we don't have an SSD. Why didn't you put it in the tray?" And he had a reason, right? He's like, I didn't like the fact that one was there and one wasn't. It looked unbalanced. I was like, "Okay, that's an answer. I'll take it."
You respect it because he had a reason for it.
Yeah,
it wasn't just like
versus just
I
like
don't
laziness.
know.
Like
Yeah.
usually that's the excuse. Yeah,
Alright.
I was like, I can see that. That would trigger me too. I'm like,
Okay, so then through a process of democracy, we have a first and second place. Who do we call third place?
third.
I'd have to give to Mark.
The black and red
would be my
Yeah.
vote for third.
I'd say that's an easy third for me.
It's clean. For me, it's like it's high for third. It's the Corsair 460, and like they're close for me.
I think the thing that kills the 460, the thing that kills it for me, that is that rat's nest of
bird's
cables
nest.
that you
Yeah.
can see. Now, if that shroud went all the way over,
He'd
you
be
can
good.
see
That's
it.
fine.
And that's not his fault.
And it's not his fault, but at the same time, knowing that it's visible.
You need to plan your runs accordingly, and you need to plan.
So we got the Noctis, the Evolve, and then the Phanteks, the Lux. Yeah, I'm good with that. I think it's I think it's fair,
Sounds right.
and
Yeah.
I got no problems with that decision whatsoever.
Yeah. So,
Awesome. All right, well let's
let's go crush some.
His trophy.
I don't know
Let's
what-
go break some hearts.
yeah. You know how that feels, right?
Yeah, been there, done that.
A couple times.
I will first announce third place, which is Mark, with his black and red ROG theme. Second place is Kyle. He's got a pretty sweet custom painted white case over there that did an awesome job on the paint job. Nice build. And the winner, who also gets, Holden, grab that trophy and bring it over here. This year's awesome acrylic trophy with the new Lacleeds Land logo is Ethan. Woo! Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nice job, man.
Thank you.
Great attention to detail, very clean build. So we didn't have anything bad to say about it. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Where